I think we owe Coach Theodore Whitmore an apology. And I'll tell you why. Wagwan sports fans, welcome back to this other Sports TV, the place you guys come to get the best, most interesting and riveting sports topics, discussions and debates on the internet. But before we get into today's video, don't forget to like this one, leave a comment and subscribe to this other Sports TV. But the one more thing for me, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people, get us 6 subscribers, because if each and every one of you guys can manage to do that, do you know how many subscribers that would get us by the end of the day? Yes people, I am Rush and I'm here to bring you guys another interesting one. Obviously, you know, over here on this other Sports TV, we try to come up with creative topics, try to come up with some perspectives that people probably not think about or isn't covered in the space, and this is one of them. I was thinking the other day, right? And I go so many places with this conversation. I don't know notes, I just turn on the camera and start record. Well, we make one little graphic. It have some type of what I can't bother fix it, so people bear with me. I was thinking the other day, after the Gold Cup and after doing a couple of videos on Coach McLaren and being a bit ticked off with him and all of that, I just thought that, maybe Coach Whitmore got a raw deal. Maybe we didn't necessarily understand what it took to coach these reggae boys. Maybe we didn't necessarily understand what it took to winning CONCACAF. Maybe we didn't realize that he wasn't doing as bad a job as we thought he was doing. And so, first of all, I'm gonna start with the Gold Cup. And people explore it with me, because I still form my opinion on this, I still look into it. Is Coach Whitmore the best coach that we've had for some time? Is he like not necessarily the best X and O's coach, but in terms of getting the results instead of putting a team together, in terms of all of that? Obviously he had his flaws. But at the end of this video, I'm trying to form an opinion to see if Coach Whitmore was actually the best of the bunch that we've had in a while. So first of all, I'm going to start with the Gold Cup, right? And just take a brief look at Jamaica's performance in the Gold Cup over the years. So obviously in 2009, Rene Seymour is at his second stint and he got fired, and then Coach Whitmore took over midway, right? Well, at this point we already dropped out of at this point we're out of World Cup qualifying, and Coach Whitmore took over at the back end of that as the interim coach. Obviously we remember that. I went to the Gold Cup. Jamaica got knocked out in the group stage, but obviously our football was in a poor place. Players coming in was awful. A lot of fallout from Coach Schaefer. The money wasn't great. All of that. There was just a lot of things going on where that Gold Cup campaign was concerned. Obviously, Tapa went to the next Gold Cup, which was 2011, where he went to the quarterfinal. So he successfully made it out of the group. 2015, Winfred Schaefer was the coach. He made it to the finals. In 2017, Coach Whitmore, people, as I say, pardon the type of them. 2007, Coach Whitmore also made it to the finals. 2021, am I missing a year here? Not sure. I'm not sure if I miss a year here, so people. But in 2021, Coach Whitmore made it to the quarterfinals. In 2025, Steve McLaren didn't make it out the group, so he got knocked out in the groups. In 2023, why am I make a graphic where I leave out so many years? I think I leave out 2019. I think I leave out 2023. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but in 2019, I think we made it to the semi-finals, and in 2023, I think Algrimston made it to the quarterfinals. So that's the performance of the Reggae Boys over the years in the Gold Cup, and I started from 2009. Before that, I personally don't know. Before that, I haven't experienced it. Obviously, I can do research and find out. But Jamaica had performances, make it out of the group sometimes, make it to the quarterfinals sometimes, make it got knocked out in the group sometimes. That's just what it is. We never think it necessary to bring up that. But I showed that graphic to bring home the point that this job may not be as easy as we think it is, right? And this also to bring home the point that this coach is kind of creating history, because this team that Steve McLaren had, of all the years that I showed on the screen a while ago and all the competitions that Jamaica played in, this team that Steve McLaren had is probably the best, if not is probably the second best, if not the best team. Arguments may have had a better team in 2023. But this team may have been the best team to play in the Gold Cup for Jamaica and got knocked out in the group stage, finishing third in the group at that, only on 3 points, and we barely got a 1-0 win. So that was the worst performance in a Gold Cup in the last 15 years. Matter of fact, in the last 17 years. It is the worst performance that we've had in a Gold Cup, with the best team that we've had to take on a Gold Cup. And so this just shows that this performance really, it needs some reprimanding, it needs something. And I don't know if the coach or the technical committee did set up themselves in a way where they can get rid of this coach and not have a financial fallout. But there must be some clauses in his contract. There must be something in his contract that say, oh, this is unacceptable. You cannot not make it out of the Gold Cup group, or you have to challenge in World Cup qualifying. You have to blah blah blah. You have to blah blah blah. And if you don't meet these targets, then we can get rid of you without a big payout. Have to, because it's just unacceptable. This can't be the standard that Jamaica accepts whenever we talk about our international coaching. It cannot. It cannot. And so I made this point about Steve McLaren to bring it back to Theodore Whitmore. People, I'm not saying that Theodore Whitmore was this great coach. I'm not saying that the football was beautiful. In fact, I'm going to talk about the negative before we even get to the positive. I am still of the opinion that in 2021 or 2, in 2021, Jamaica did the right thing by getting rid of Coach Whitmore. I still believe that that was the right thing to do. I still think that we needed a new coach at the time. I still think that Jamaica's football was awful. Theodore Whitmore couldn't manage to get the team to play good football and win games that they were supposed to win. Yeah, that was just a bad thing at the time. I also believe that Coach Whitmore selection wasn't great at times, leaving out players that are clearly better than other players, leaving them off the squad, or even when they're on the squad, putting them on the bench, not necessarily embracing the international pool, embracing the local pool a little bit too much. So Coach Whitmore had his flaws, don't get me wrong. The football was, he believed that, I haven't talked to him, but just from watching the football and knowing what we know, Coach Whitmore believed that he could have played football without a midfield. And so we saw so many long balls, we saw the misuse of our wingers, the misuse of our forwards, and just a disgruntled fan base. And so I still believe that Coach Whitmore should have been removed from his position as a head coach for the Jamaica senior men's national team. I believe that. Now, the positives. Whenever we played in the Gold Cup, Coach Whitmore make sure say we make it out of the group. He make it to the finals. He go on a historic run. He managed to introduce some pivotal players in the team. Coach Whitmore now concede so many goals. It is not happening. Alright, we're not going to score many goals, but he's not conceding so many goals. Not at all. In defensive structure, as poor as it was still better than what we saw from Al Grimson and what we saw from McLaren. Theodore Whitmore, me talk about people, the man where we did that say yo Whitmore out, the man where I say yo we need a better coach, the man where I say can't coach. I am now coming and saying that is better or was better in setting up this team, at least defensively, than the previous coach and the current coach at the moment. And that is crazy. And so did we give Coach Whitmore a tough time? Should we have had some more patience with him? Because I don't believe that with this team that Whitmore, if Whitmore was in charge of this team right now, Jamaica would have made it out of the group. It's just the truth. Jamaica would have made it out of the group. If Whitmore was in charge of this team right now, we would make it to the World Cup. Because I still believe some McLaren will make it to the World Cup, but I would be so much more confident with Whitmore. Because the truth is, I would be confident that this team's not going to score power. And it's going to be a two love or one love when we should have get 3 loves and 4 loves. Especially to the Bermudas of the world. You get me, I say? I still believe some McLaren will get it done just because we're so much better than these teams individually, and we're going to be able to crawl across the line if we have to. But Whitmore managed to do so much better with worse teams than what we're seeing from Al Grimson and what we're seeing from McLaren. And so with that said, Coach Whitmore at this moment was better for the Reggae Boys than the last 2 coaches. And so I'm going to use that for pivoting at the next point I want to make. Again, people, I do believe that correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 2021. I do believe that it was the right decision to get rid of Coach Whitmore. Fine. And I now understand how hard it is to get a good world class, or even if we don't get a world class, get a really good coach to take charge and play some good football and win tournaments and get to the highest levels in CONCACAF. I do understand that that is hard to do. But guess whose job it is to do that? The technical committee of the JFF. It is their responsibility. It is their role. It is within their job description to find a proper coach for the Reggae Boys. And they have failed to do that. So all of this, even though Jamaica play awful football, even though we look on the coaches, we've gotten it wrong 3 times. In fact, we not get it right all now. You get me? As if I will make it to World Cup in 1998. I was just a couple months old. You tell me, say, in my lifetime, the JFF haven't managed to get a good coach for the Reggae Boys. And I'm talking about to put a squad together to compete in the Gold Cups. Obviously, we've competed in Gold Cups, but take it a bit further to make it to the World Cup. Crazy to me. Crazy. If you go over the World Cup qualifying campaigns in 2009, who was it? Rene Simoes come back, never make it to the World Cup, get fired. In 2011, that would have been no World Cup year. 2014 would have been the World Cup year. Tapper never make it to the World Cup. 2018 now, Winfred Schaefer never even make it to the Hex. That was at the time. I remember me in high school now, I'm a freshman, I know exactly what I go on. We never even make it to the Hex. 2018, never make it to the World Cup. 2022, never make it to the World Cup. And that's how me a top one. And so many of these years, we had the teams to make it to the World Cup. So I understand people. The job is hard. I understand the confederation is hard. I understand that it is no easy job to take these Reggae Boys and make it to the World Cup. I understand that. But I do think that for all his flaws, Theodore Tapper Whitmore, at least to this point, is and was a better international coach than Jaime Alguimson and than Steve McLaren. And so I'm here to say that we're sorry, Tapper. You see me? Yeah. Obviously, hindsight 2020. It is. And so we can't know what would happen in the future. We can't know how things would have play out. But at this moment, it is looking like then coach and know what they do, and at least Tapper would at least get a little bit closer. Or believing a little bit more than what they managed to do. And people internationally at the club level can speak to that. Obviously, if you look upon it, yes, them coaches might have some success in some places and in some leagues. At the highest level, they are not necessarily in charge of any top team or whatever. Obviously, Steve McLaren was the assistant coach to Ten Hag. I will see how that play out at Manchester United. He was not playing good football. He wasn't necessarily a part of a great setup, and that is the man that we got to take over Jamaica. Alright, it should have been an easier job, but we're seeing signs of the same things. You see me? That was plaguing him at Manchester United. So, with that said, I am of the conclusion now. I am of the opinion that Coach Whitmore obviously got a raw deal, but not only did he get a raw deal, at the moment, I will confidently say that all the evidence suggests that he is and was a better international coach than Coach Jaime Alguimson, than Steve McLaren. People, it was a quick one, but if you like the video, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment and subscribe to this side of Sports TV. And one more thing for me, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people, get us 6 subscribers, because if each and every one of you guys can manage to do that, do you know how many subscribers that would get us by the end of the day? But for now, people, this was this side of Sports TV. Gone, McGon.